Good morning, guys. This is Andrew Keen from Keen on the Market. This is your opening bell for 4/1/2013, first day of the quarter. GM weekly calls being bought in GM. Huge order here. I think I'm gonna have to jump on some of these GM weekly calls being bought. 4,000 lot of the 28 calls being bought. Huge bar here. On the 15, it is not a bull setup with the unusual option activity, though. I think it is a decent setup. I'm looking at it right now. GM weekly 28 calls being bought. 4,000 of these. This is a pretty big order. I've noticed, the unusual option activity with GM is kind of 50-50. It's kind of hit or miss. GM moving north here after paper bought these calls. I just talked about these calls being bought in GM. Weekly calls being bought. The most aggressive of all of unusual option activity is the weekly options. They have the highest amount of gamma, highest amount of theta, and they have the most risk because it will decay the fastest. Paper bought GM calls, stock is raging to the upside. Paper bought 4,000 of these for 28 cents. Stock is moving higher here in GM. Apple moving higher here. Let's look at Apple on the 15. Has it made a possible low of the day here in Apple? Hmm? What? I paid 2/4. Yeah. So GM, unusual option activity in GM, Potash, June 39 puts being sold. JDS Uniphage, May 13 puts being sold. 10,000 JDS Uniphage puts being sold. Let's look at JDSU. JDSU on the daily. JDSU, paper sold the 13 puts. On the 15, it's under the cloud. On the daily, under the Ichimoku cloud, I cannot rationalize taking a short setup, a long setup in JDSU. We have the 9-period moving average under the 26. It is under the Ichimoku cloud. I'm not taking a trade here in JDSU. I think there could be possibly more downside pressure in JDS Uniphase. I'm not taking a trade there. Delta up a little bit, SU up a little bit, COP up a little bit. Sticks was up, it reversed. If I'm trading on the 5, the first 5-minute bar just closed. The first 10-minute bar will close in a minute. Apple reversing out down on the day. Apple choppy. Under the Ichimoku cloud, the short-term moving average is to the downside. An aggressive trader could short Apple in the close of the bar. I like to use the 15 personally. MAC up 55 more cents today. MAC raging today. I was going to offer some S Sprint calls. I'm going to offer 40% of my position out in Sprint for 30 cents. So, exit to close, but not filled. Offering 40% of Sprint Jan 2014, 7 calls for 30 cents. I paid 17 cents on these. So I'm offering some Sprint calls up higher. Obviously when I say I'm offering them, I'm not filled. I'm not close to getting filled, but I always consider it free advertising. Why not offer some calls higher? SPOOs up a half now. SPOOs are coming higher. Let me look at them on the 15-minute. We do have economic data in about 23 minutes. GM did sell off a little bit on the 15, on the daily. Oh, is my color in the Ichimoku cloud different in each chart? But that's okay. S&P is higher, up 3 ticks, 75 cents right now. COP higher. Let's look at CME on the daily. Apple continues to look really weak. Apple down $3 now. Apple looks very weak, down $3. CME hasn't hit that 26-day moving average. I should find major support here in CME. Coach 52.5 calls being sold. Coach 52.5 calls being sold. GM, it was the weekly 29 calls, the weekly 28 calls, sorry, the weekly 28 calls being bought in GM. Weekly 28 calls being bought in GM. So if you're trading on the 10 closes in a minute here. I'm going to be trading any stocks, upgrades, and downgrades on the 15. Tesla has huge short interest. Tesla up $5 right now. You know, could I aggressively be buying Tesla on the close and stop under the low of the day? Yeah, I could be doing that if I was an aggressive trader. You know, I've never back tested that, but buying Tesla on the close of the 10 or on the close of the 15 with a stop under the low might work. Let's look at a Potash real quick on the 15. Potash got upgraded, now selling off. Touch the cloud here. I could get long Potash with a stop under 29.10. I'd actually look to do that right now. Buy some Potash stock here with a stop under 29.10. I want to do it on the close of the 15. I'm going to be maybe possibly buying Potash on the close of the 15. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Let's look at TAP on the 15. Nice gap higher on the daily. Possibly get long tap with a stop under 49.59. That'd be about $1. So that's a pretty big level I'd have to give it. Intel got downgraded this morning. Would I want to short Intel here? No. Could give it, 20 cents. I'm going to revisit these all on the close of the 15. UAL. Another trade I could possibly short. I'm going to review these to see if they worked at the end of the day. Yahoo. Yahoo down 20 cents as well. The stocks that are getting downgraded aren't moving aggressively to the downside. We see more GM weekly calls being bought, about 1,000 weekly calls being bought in GM. GM weekly calls being bought. I have not taken a trade on these. They're getting bought for 35 cents now. So papers aggressively coming in to buy GM weekly calls. So what does that tell me? That tells me I think the stock's going to go higher. Calls are bought for one of two reasons. Calls are bought for speculation to the upside or hedge against a short stock position. So calls are bought as speculation or as a hedge. It looks like these are speculation, and they are currently winning in GM. Everything's always a battle between the bulls and the bears, and it looks like the bulls are currently winning in GM. I do not have a position on in GM, but buying these I think is a good setup. GM trying to get above that $28 level. We also saw weekly call buyers in WFC this morning. Nothing's moving there on that. 15-minute bar closes in about 2.5 minutes. So GM moving higher. I always think in hindsight, oh, I missed that trade, but I didn't think a set up for a good trade. So the best thing about trading is, I don't have to take trades if I don't want. If I don't think a trade is a good setup, then I don't have to take a trade. Market's coming up a little bit here, up 1.5 points. If we brought up the ES mini futures on the daily chart, We are going to now surpass the all-time high at 4.5 was the all-time high from Friday. We're surpassing that level here in the ES futures. You know, first day of the quarter, you would think there's going to be buying pressure, right? A lot of people want to reposition for the next quarter. Historically, April is a very, very strong quarter. Month, sorry, is a very strong month. So that takes us through opening bell. If you guys want to check out more of the live trading room, unusual option activity, earnings, and volatility, shoot me an email. I'll get you in the live trading room, Andrew@keenonthemarket.com. Thanks, guys, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.